Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Have you ever wondered what the heck we're up to in 2022? We don't know either, but we're
Yeah,
going to tell you.
let's make it up.
What up, Giants? That's it. So, that would be the most awkward show ever.
Just sit there.
We should have a show on awkwardness.
Look at that green screen. That's fancy.
What I got going on with the shadows over here.
Just awkwardness.
What? Chase them all away. Oh, now they're back.
Awkwardness like this. Like, well, yesterday I was sitting in my colonoscopy.
Want to see pictures?
Want to see pictures? Today we're going to go through a slideshow of that experience.
Yeah.
No.
And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the alert button.
Yeah.
Wake Up with Giants TV, so you can see when we go live every dang time.
If not, hit the disturbed button.
Yeah, there should be one of those, huh?
Yeah.
There should be a disturbed button, at least on Facebook.
I'm
Heart,
disturbed.
care, like
Something.
disturbed.
Disturbed. WTF.
They should. That'd be hilarious. Huh.
I'm going to hit that WTF button.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot going on. We got a lot of things that have happened already in 2022.
A lot. Let's dive in.
You want to share about it? You want to start? Where do we start?
I don't know. I think we start with what our vision is. There we go. Put that down there. You have a quote? What the FFF? Good morning.
Oh, so many good things.
That's what happened when he got 11 cases of books at his house this week. Of what the FFF?
Opens the door and there's can't even get out.
Yeah. Damn it, those Giants.
Sorry.
Start at the beginning where we are.
That's a good place.
Why not? Let's do that. We're going to talk about that this weekend anyway, but why not go back to the origins a little bit and then dive through and kind of look at the journey and where we're going briefly. Should we do that?
Yeah, fire away.
And it gives me a chance to practice my speech. So this all began years ago in 2009, over a decade ago is when this whole journey began. And it started in a parking lot of a food bank when I was bankrupt, foreclosed. I couldn't afford food. My wife and I were getting food at a food bank. And I joke about this, but I did what any normal person would do in that situation. I decided I would become a life coach and I'm a motivational speaker, right?
Right.
So I jumped into that. I told a girl named Julie Blake that's what I wanted to do. And she said, you got to talk to Steve Hardison. And I didn't know who this guy was. The only Steve I'd ever heard of was in a grasshopper joke years ago. Oh, you got a drink named Steve? So that's about where it began for me. But I remember we had that conversation. We talked on the phone. He called, and I was sitting in the parking lot of a food bank, and he called. And we talked for about an hour. And he opened my eyes to how I was playing. I was living by my stories. And I don't remember everything about the conversation, but I remember how I felt. And I remember one particular question that I asked, which is, can you? And he said, yes, before I could finish. And I'm like, how can you do that if you don't even know what I'm going to ask? And he said, there's nothing you can ask me that's bigger than me. Not one thing. And he clarified later that it's not just that he can do it. He can enroll people to doing it. And that's a huge thing. And so that became foundational for what followed. My life didn't change drastically, but I started working with my brother, and I was driving to Park City. I was listening to Who Moved My Cheese, and I thought, I could write this. I could write a book like this. And I didn't know what I'd talk about, but I saw the giant homes, and I started wondering, how did they get there? Were they entitled? Did they get it inherited? How did they create that? And I didn't want to teach my kids that they're just entitled or that you inherit things, which is a possibility. But I came at it from the space of how do you become a giant when you feel small? Because I felt really small at that time in my life. And so from there, the book evolved. I would record it in this recorder as I would drive to work. That's the original.
Is
And
it
that
still
book,
turned on?
uh,
Don't
it's
do
not
it. I
turned
don't want
on
you
by
to
me.
accidentally
Not
like
turned on by
delete
me
it.
anymore. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it still has the SD card in it, and
Oh, wow.
I think the recordings are still there. I just don't. I've got to strip them out.
That's amazing.
But I mean, this is where it all started from. This was in 2009, and we didn't get the book published till 2020. You and I got the book published in 2020, and you and I met in 20. Was it 2018 that you and I met?
Late
At
2018.
ORV,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were like, "Hey, I want to work with you," and I'm like, "No, no, I work alone." That's what I thought. Ryan's like, "Hey, I'm going to work with you." Nope. And here we are working together. FFF. 400,000
That's
FFF later.
serendipitous or
Yeah.
something.
Well, it's amazing because the journey took so long. So many people give up on their visions because they think it's never going to come about. Well, would you stick with it for a decade if you had to? Would you
Hmm.
stick with it longer? I mean, who knows? It could come around sooner. Some of that was probably me not jumping in sooner. But in 2 years, since 2020, I mean, we've created a global community. We've created the Wake Up with Giants TV network that's now broadcasting in 170 countries.
It's pretty cool.
Unbelievable. We've got the movie that we're working on. We've got all these things that we're visioning out. And our impact, our vision long term is to impact 100 million lives globally, whether that's through the book, the movie, through our groups, programs, people that are connected to the Giants in some form. We hit and impact 100 million lives. And so as we look at 2022, that's just a portion of that trip. It's a facet of it, a fractal of it. That's what Hugh would say. It's
Mm-hmm.
a fractal
Yeah,
of it.
where's Hugh?
I don't know, Hugh.
I'll
Where are
find
you?
him. Who's
Hugh
coming?
be,
He's
Hugh be,
coming in
Hugh.
hot.
Like Scooby Doo. Where are you?
Where is
Hugh be,
Hugh?
Hugh be, Hugh.
He's coming to talk to you now. Got him. I tagged him.
Tagged. Tag, you're it, Hugh. Well, so in 2022, we're already diving into our creations and our intentions for the year. And Ryan, will you tell them a little bit about what you've created? I mean, you've gone out there and
Well,
done something phenomenal.
so there's been a couple of things that have been fun. Like we started the Alyssa Ann Miracle Group last just before Christmas. A group of us got together, and which, by the way, she is on a plane headed to Arizona at the current moment, which a month and a half ago seemed like the furthest thing from a
Impossible,
possibility.
right?
Hmm. And a group of us got together and infused a little bit of money and helped her with some coaching and some different things like that, and it it just changed everything for her. And now she, like I said, now she's on a plane headed to see us in Arizona, so we'll all meet up. And I think everything's going the way it's supposed to go. With that creation,
Yeah.
because of that, we were able to meet. Oh, look, dink. Hmm.
Huh.
She's swinging over to say hello.
I thought it was going to be 7-Eleven, but that's where I would have gone, Steve.
Customs.
Customs? Yeah. Baggage claim. Baggage claim?
Okay, maybe it's like the car rental. Maybe it's like the fourth or fifth, but it's right up there. No, just kidding.
Steve.
Just messing with you, Steve.
Uh,
Yes, yes. Headed to Steve Hardison's.
Lunch at Steve's. That's amazing. That's amazing. Huh.
The crazy thing, like there's some things behind there's still commitment behind that. So some people don't know, but the GoFundMe stuff is still locked up. There's the funds haven't been released. So I've been helping Alyssa Ann however I can to be able to cover it till they become available. And I think it's because she lived in Australia and we tried to transfer the funds to Australia, and so they locked them up. But it didn't matter because we're committed to the goal. We're committed to what's happening.
They're like, "We're not down with the down under.
Yeah.
No adventure for you guys."
But isn't that weird? There's
Yeah.
still with, not with like a fifth of what the money that we've raised, because I didn't have all of it just sitting there for, to be able to hand Alyssa.
Yeah.
Um, she still was able to get here,
That's amazing. Yeah.
and it'll get there. I have no doubts it'll get released and figured out. If not, I'll go to each individual person that donated. I'm sure they'll still donate, and we'll do it a different way. She's here now, so we could figure it out. But the best part is that, from that, we were able to meet and have all these amazing connections with people that we had never met before, and from that spawned even more creations and things. And with the ultimate event that's coming up, we were able to connect with Judy and Alex, and we've known them before, but in a much stronger way, where there's possibilities of creating more events and stepping into bigger roles, and just forming, I don't know if you call it an alliance, a partnership, a friendship, a creationship. We formed a creationship.
Relationship. I like that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
formed a creationship of aligning with the ultimate experience and the ultimate coach, because it is the same message. It is that it is about being.
Yeah.
It's about waking up to your beingness or your giant potential. It's the same message. Steve's book, The Ultimate Coach. If you haven't got that, go get it, because what it is it's an example of a way of being, and you could put yourself right in Steve's shoes. I'm reading the story, and I'm thinking about me, and how am I playing? Where's Ryan? Where you need to be? There he is. There's Schmaltzy right there.
Schmaltzy.
You be Schmaltzy.
Let's
The book
schmaltz.
about being, and for
Yeah.
Tony, it's be Schmaltzy. I love it. Schmaltzy is just like being whoever you want to be. For him, it's a certain way of being, and he's got a great way of being. Him and his wife are amazing. We get to hang out with them. So um, we have that going on this weekend. We didn't see ourselves as speaking at this event, but yet we get the opportunity because we were committed. We're committed to being schmaltzy, to being giant. That's synonymous. It's going out and being the best you that you can be. We don't care what it looks like. You might,
Yeah.
right at home, you might care, but we want to wake you up to that, because we see you. We see people that are out there that are being schmaltzy, that are being giant, that are just being. We see the potential in everybody. That's why we go to the schools and talk to the kids about their giant potential and helping them wake up and gain a few tools that they might not have had before we showed up. Um, I think
Yeah.
it's going to be an amazing experience to be able to share with. I think there's about 300 to 350 others, about being giant and about being, and how I think it's an interesting story, Nick, of how you, in just a sliver of a moment, you were introduced to somebody that was being. And this happens to be Steve Hardison, because he's the giant in the book, but it very easily could have been Tony Schmaltz. It very easily could have been
Yeah.
any
I
other
could. I
person.
retelling this story today about a guy named Ryan Morris. 10 years ago, I met this guy named Ryan Morris. I was sitting in a parking lot. It could be him. It's just is a way of being. Yeah.
There's tons of examples of this, Nick, where um, you went down to southern Utah with your kids and went paddleboarding, looked over to the right or left. I'm imagining it's probably to your left, and there, because I'm left-handed, so I'm going to tell the story how I want to tell it.
Yeah.
And there on the ground, there was a guy that was trying to
Actually,
blow up.
actually, I didn't look left or right. He was straight
Yeah,
in front of me.
straight in front, straight on.
Yeah.
We'll go down the middle. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's the best around. And there's a guy trying to pump up his paddle boards, like with his mouth. And there's AJ Richards sitting there, yeah, just going to town on a paddle board. And Nick says, "Hey, I got a pump. It'll make it a little easier. My name's Nick Smith."
Well, first I said, "You can't do that in public."
Yeah, that's seems wrong.
Let's get you I had an electric pump, man.
Yeah,
AJ Richards, yeah, who
and
happened to know Steve
Steve
Hardison.
Hardison. Huh. The other night, as in last night, got invited to a house um, by Mike and Geraldine Brown, and Nick um, Nick was gonna take an adventure and just go to Mexico and just go to Puerto Vallarta and just be. He had no plan, no hotel, no nothing. He had plane tickets, and this homeboy
In a
went just
backpack,
in a backpack and
like
a
Dora
dream.
the Explorer.
So right there, so we're
Backpack, backpack.
right there. We're just sees an opportunity, decides, hey, look, I think I'm gonna go after that. Just
Threw a
hops
few of
on a
my
plane.
favorite things in there, a hunk of cheese and my favorite socks,
Yeah,
my painted toenails, and
and
off I
off he
went.
goes into the sunset, and he runs into Mike and Geraldine and starts talking to them about being giant and what he's doing and his plan. And they're like, "You can't go to Mexico without a plan. Come stay with us for a night." And I think they even said that they would have offered to have him stay the whole time. And you should see their place; it's amazing. And Nick was like, "But I got to go out and serve. I got to go out and be. I've got things I want to do." And he told them all about what he was going to do. They were like, "Well, then let's get you started." And he went out and had all these amazing adventures, which they shared a bunch of them with us last night over dinner in their house. And some of the most beautiful, amazing people you'll ever meet. And from that, even we were sitting there talking about creations and what we can do. And we have this um, black diamond is what it is. It's called Bort diamond. It's black diamond, and it's only in two places in the world, and we have access to it uh, here in actually in Arizona, Steve. So that's an amazing thing. It's hanging out by you, and we have rights to the well, we by Pride Smith, who's Nick's brother, has claims, and we started talking about creation and what this could do with the X stone. Nick's got it on his necklace, and how we could use that stone to then help people in Mexico to be able to create things like that because they need some economic help, and then they could feel like that they're doing something valuable and important, get a fair wage, and create a beautiful masterpiece. And so we started talking about that and how that could be. And we've talked about filling stadiums of people and seeing that vision. We've talked about that since pretty much the beginning of what we see as a giants gathering.
So yesterday, this is something that's a
Mm,
little, it's on that topic, but a little off topic. I was in a coaching session, and as I'm coaching this, I think she's an incredible person. She's in doTERRA. She says, if you get a call from Emily, and I don't know her last name, she's the president of doTERRA, and take that call, because I could see you speaking to thousands of doTERRA reps all over the world. And so filling stadiums might not just be us doing that. So when we envision this and we vision this out, we're open to possibilities. That might be our creation, that might be somebody else's creation that we support.
mhm,
And so how interesting that in that creationship, right? That coaching, that she was able to declare that as a possibility. I love that.
hmm. We're and I'm gonna let you talk more about vision and
Yeah.
things like that that come to your mind too, because I want to get you in here. But the interesting thing is that we started putting down on paper and on video what we wanted to have happen, and we started last year, and we've started several years ago, and then it's the weirdest feeling. It's serendipitous. It's almost like a deja vu, like it's already happened. Just like Tony said there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's already happening. That's happened. and those things come in last night where we're sitting there talking about the stones, the X stones, and you've seen them, and we've talked about that story. And if you haven't, we can post it. But um, I was like, Nick, you put that on your 5,000 things journal. It's line 29, and he's like, what? And he goes through. He's like, really? He scrolls through and reads it off on his phone, and it says something along the lines of that the X stones have taken off, that people are
I
are,
have it
are
here.
drawn to 'em. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, I'll read it.
Is that okay?
Yeah, this is how I write vision, guys. So when you're
Mhm,
looking at 2022 for yourself, this is how I write vision. And you might have a form that's similar, but this is from my journal, 5,000 things. And these are things that are yet to be. So premembrances, memories of things yet to be, in the words of Catherine Lee,
hmm,
right? And so line 29 is this: the X Stones took off in a way that we didn't even imagine. They were so inspiring to people that they were buying them as gifts, wearing them for themselves, and sharing them with their friends and family. We were able to keep up with the demand, and it made an impact in the world that supported these people and brought us a beautiful amount of money. That's it. That's the vision. It's as simple as that. When you're writing vision, I think it's as simple as that. But keep going with your story, and we'll come back to that.
it I don't even know where I'm going exactly, other than that every time we write these things down, the pathway lines up, but a lot of times it's just like Nick wrote. It's a lot of times it's not in the exact way that we had it planned in our heads, right? Sometimes you see it in your head and you
I
think
don't know.
I've got to
Can
yeah,
you
there's
see
your
that?
little bit. Yep.
So the green, these are all the visions I wrote as though they already are. And some are highlighted green because they're already fulfilled. And so in my 5,000 things journal, I have pictures and evidence of things that were created from speaking it into the world and declaring it powerfully.
Hmm.
And so those highlights there, the greens, it blanks it out. But immediately, one within 11 minutes, one within a couple of days, one within a week, faster than I could have even imagined. But there's
Hmm.
power in declaring and writing down your vision. And so in 2022, we're writing our visions and we're creating those here. And
Yeah,
in the interest of time, we'll kind of hurry through this, and I'll let you wrap up, and then I'll dive in a little bit on that.
and it just seems like they come in almost serendipitous, like where
Yeah,
it feels like deja vu, like whoa, because we've said it so many times and we felt it and we've seen it happening, but then it didn't come in exactly like we had thought. But then we're like, wait a second, holy crap, that just happened. And we can look back and we can see this. So anyway, it's just an interesting thing, and we're excited to see what happens in 2022 and beyond.
well, and I think the things that will happen is whatever we create, and we're creating anyway. So some of us are doing it unconsciously, and some of us are doing it consciously. And I choose to do it consciously. I create myself first thing in the morning. So the first thing in 2022 that I'm creating is me and who I'm being in the world. So when I show up in a coaching conversation, I create that person going into the coaching conversation. I create it all. Steve's talking about a little bit of anticipation, right? When you have anticipation, you create things and you start to prepare the space to receive them. So an expectant mother starts preparing the room even though the baby's 9 months away. She starts buying clothes, formula, all this stuff for the room, and she starts preparing for it. And so when we write these things, when I write them from anticipation. Like, I'm
Hmm.
ready to receive this. And I write it as though it already is. Oh yeah, my home. Like Steve talks about the home. Oh yeah, my home's beautiful. Check out these floor plans. Right? It's not even built yet, but you're talking about your home as though it already is. You're talking about the baby and the baby's name and all the dreams and visions you have for the baby as though they already are, even though it's out in the future. And so as you're looking at 2022, as we're looking at 2022, our global impact is 100 million lives impacted. But we have the Johnny Appleseed tour coming up in
Hmm.
February. I'm going to launch that February 22nd. That's the date of the movie premiere, is what I wanted to put on there. 2/22/22 is the Johnny Appleseed tour, and I'm going out by Pixar Studios. Ryan's going to join me on that. We're going to create getting this book and seeding the book into the hands of the artists with Pixar Animated Studios. Like, they're hungry. They need a book and a story that they can take in and launch their careers with. So we're going to go to the cafes around the area and create it. Who knows what's going to happen? We have no idea. I don't have any connections in that area. But the Johnny Appleseed tour is coming up. So I need a Johnny Appleseed bag to put my books in so I can start throwing these books out like seeds, right? You plant the seeds and you let serendipity take over. We have the vision of the ultimate experience, 300 people in a room, that we are going to impact those people in those chairs. Ryan and I are going to share in such a way that they are inspired into their own greatness, right? In 2022, we have our summits, virtual summits, and live retreats. And I don't even know how we're going to create it yet, but I just know that it is. I mean, if we could throw together Alyssa Ann's Miracle and the Ultimate Experience in just a few weeks, imagine what we could do with a little vision and planning. And so just being with your vision and not looking at it as what's prudent, not what have I done in the past, so I'll do it from there. I'll create from there because that's all I've ever done. So I'm going to do what I know and I'm going to create that. We're going to stretch ourselves this year. Getting a movie contract is on the vision board. Filling stadiums is on the vision board. Teaching thousands of students and teachers about the 12 journeys of becoming a giant is on the vision board for 2022. We already are. These are already things that are completed. We're just closing the gap between where we are currently and those things. How we do it isn't up to us. Steve Jobs says you can't connect the dots looking forward, only backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect, whether that be through karma or God or the universe or spirit. It doesn't matter. You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect. And I've seen it over and over with the trip to Puerto Vallarta and other things. Our beautiful assistant, Nicole Castillo, and business partner, who became an assistant after 11 minutes of Ryan and I having a conversation. She has no idea we're even having this conversation, reaches out and says, hey, I've got room to do this. She didn't even know we're talking about it. Like, who you be is who's doing the creating. But to sit down and vision, like Steve Hardison put me on his shoulder back in 2009 and showed me a different way of being, I could never go back. It's like unpopping a popcorn seed. It's like putting the universe back into the Big Bang. There's no putting it back. And so vision is what's going to carry you through, because the vision, when you see where you're going, you already know you're there. You don't worry about how you got there. You just trust that the dots will somehow connect. Mm-hmm. If a path is blocked, you find another way around it. You don't go home. So even if it's a 10-year journey, I'm going a little unconscious here and ranting.
Beautiful.
But I think, if those that are listening, if you'll hear this, write your vision as though it already is. A memory of things yet to be, a premembrance. That's from Lydia, what is her, Nibley? Lydia Nibley, right? Rant. Lydia Nibley says a premembrance, a premembering.
I can Nick rant any day.
I'll rant. I can rant if I want to. Anyway, that's what I'm stepping into and learning the most, is that, yeah, you create your vision and then you create as much of a plan as you can create around it. And you look at all the possibilities you can imagine from where you are, and then you start acting on those, and then new pathways appear that you weren't expecting. And so, like Steve says, if you pull that one up, it comes from your being. It is everything. So we are visionary right now. We are being visionary. And so from that vision, you start being the person that takes the action to create that vision as a reality. And you enroll people not by what you say. We learned this from Stephen McGee the other day. It's not what you say. It's not a sales pitch. It's not a proposition or a pitch deck or anything like that. It's who you're being. Vision and enrollment come from being. And so Ryan and I have been practicing being. And man, sometimes I trip and fall and stumble, and I'm not very good at it. So I'm being not very good at it, right? But I keep getting up and keep going.
That's where you gain that experience too. Like, like when we first started this, our first episodes were terrible. Maybe not for you, because you had already been doing it. But I look back at it and go, wow, I wasn't great at it. but I wanted to have an impact. I
Yeah,
wanted to be present here on Wake Up with Giants. And now it's much easier. I don't even get butterflies most of the time anymore. I got
yeah,
nervous or that bubble guts. I can hop on here, camera goes on, and sometimes we're off to the side and it goes live, and it's like whoop, right into being that, right?
yeah.
We show up in the way that we need to show up. And Jen Walter, guess what? This isn't the replay, it's still live
You're
because
still live,
yeah.
Jen.
Hey, what's up?
Futu.
Yeah,
What's up, Futu?
Jen's gonna be showing up hot on
Yeah,
the red carpet. I think she's bringing a cape and some amazingness, probably some cool shoes.
yeah. I'd imagine so.
I wouldn't.
Man, it's
Yeah.
we are still throughout the year we'll be envisioning 2022. It's not like we just get there in January, we draw it all out and then we're done, right? We will be creating vision as we step because new pathways will appear, new opportunities will appear. And so serendipity, the word serendipity comes from the princes of Serendip who went on their adventures saw things they weren't looking for and by chance found and discovered things they weren't looking for. And so the Giants retreat is on the vision board for 2022. Absolutely. Um, so serendipity is simply that. As you're stepping, things will appear, and it will seem by chance that they appear. But it's because you're stepping that you see them because they're
Mhm.
always there. But if you're not looking for them, you're not going to see them. And so step with your plan, looking for anything that could serve your vision. And that's what we've been doing.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Any other thoughts?
Just excited to see how you're gonna be at home. All of you. What are you gonna be? What do you want to do? Just go start being it. It's as simple as that.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Try not to sneezy. And don't be sleazy because that's not easy. We keep going. Oh, that's cheesy.
It's we're dads.
We're dads, dad
He's
jokes.
just blaming on being dads.
Love you guys. Remember, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are right on time. There is no lost time. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. So keep doing it and watch for the opportunities that appear. We love you, and we will see you in the next episode.
Love you too.